Hey guys, I decided to make this video after having some conversations with some of my really close friends about how they've been feeling over the past couple of weeks and just their different experiences with processing everything that we are currently experiencing being Black in America. We always talk about how it's okay not to be okay. And I think that is such a powerful statement to give ourselves permission to heal, to take our time, to cope with the things that we are experiencing. And I just recently, talking to my friends, have been talking about the other side of this, which is also that it is okay to make efforts to be okay. And I think that right now, with everything going on and it being so heavy, there is almost kind of a pressure. There's just, it's so much, it's all consuming, and I feel like it can be a little bit hard to tap into our joy. And one thing that we all know for sure is that America is not going to give us our Black joy, our Black happiness. That is something that we have to provide for ourselves. And so, while we endure this fight, as we advocate, as we stand up and speak up for what is right and for the rights that we should have been and had, I think that it's just really important also to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why. So those of you that know me know that I'm a nerd. But anyways, this year, I was digging into some research around compassion fatigue and activism and kind of the intersection there. And I came across a term called racial battle fatigue. And what racial battle fatigue is it is basically the psychological and physiological impacts that marginalized groups of people, like Black people, that we experience from simply coping with the microaggressions and racism that we experience just from our day-to-day experience being Black in America. Now, the research that came out of this is a new term that was birthed from 2016, studying after Trump was elected into office, where it talked about Black professors and students' experiences on campus and just how much of an impact their daily experiences with these microaggressions and racism had on their stress and their mental health. Another term that I came across was activism burnout. Now, activism burnout is something that anybody can experience. And that is when you essentially lose the fire in your fight. It's kind of like, it just kind of, the advocacy takes a physical and emotional toll on you. And it's like you kind of lose the engagement with that fight. And anyone can experience it. But what the research says is that when you look like the fight, right? So when you're reflected in what you're fighting for, you sit at a higher susceptibility of experiencing stress from that advocacy. So for us Black folks, as we advocate for our own rights, we may be experiencing more stress than our more privileged counterparts as they fight for our rights, okay? And so a lot of this stress that we're experiencing and that, the impacts that it has on us, it comes from so much pressure to change the world that's around us. And all of this work that we're putting in requires a lot of emotional labor. And so when this goes untreated, when it goes unnoticed, or if we personally dismiss it, we can see some serious impacts, okay? So we can see changes in our mood. You may be feeling more feelings of anxiety and depression. There may be changes cognitively, so it could be harder to focus. It could be harder to, your memory may be impacted. You may see physical impacts. So this is higher blood pressure and headaches, and even behavioral changes. So there may be an increase in substance abuse, or it might be that you have decreased productivity and things like that, okay? So I'm making this video not to deter you from the fight, because of course this is important work and we need to be doing this. And what we're seeing is so beautiful and so powerful. And I'm so proud of all the change that I'm already witnessing. It's amazing. But if we want to be sustainable, if we want to be able to have that endurance and to remain resilient in this fight, we have to put tools in place to take care of ourselves, okay? So today I just wanted to share 5 things that we can be doing to help us remain engaged and sustainable while we advocate for our life to matter here in America, which is quite unfortunate that I even have to make a video like that, okay? So one of the first things that I really want you to do, and I've really been pushing my friends to do this as well, but take the break from social media and from the news. They call it a news cycle for a reason. It will be there when you get back. A couple strategies that you can do around that are things like setting a timer for time that you're going to be away from your phone, from the news, from things like that, or even limiting the times that you check it to 1 to 2 times a day. A lot of the information that we're seeing is the same thing over and over and over again, okay? So make sure that you're taking time to unplug from that, to disconnect from that, so that you're not just constantly seeing images and anger around the issue. Of course we're mad. We have every right to be mad, but we also have to take some time to step back a little bit and take care of ourselves, okay? So it's okay to unplug. Again, I promise you it will be here when you get back, okay? Another thing I want you to do is to make sure that you're breathing and that you're stretching. Now, you've probably heard me say that our issues are in our tissues, and that is because stress and trauma resides not just in our memories, but also in our bodies. So I want you to make sure that you're moving, and especially right now, we're experiencing this in the midst of another pandemic, right? And so a lot of us are sitting at home, and so it's very important that we get up and that we move. If you find yourself sitting on your computer, sitting on your phone for hours on end, you haven't moved, and especially if you're noticing that you're feeling tension in your shoulders or your belly or your back, I want you to make a conscious effort to move those parts of your body. So again, we can begin dissolving some of that tension that may just be sitting there, okay? Another thing is breathing. So these deep breathing exercises, especially right now, as you're practicing breathing exercises, try focusing on some of those breathing exercises where you're breathing out longer than you breathe in. This is what can help us to activate that sense of relaxation a little bit more. So I know that I've had friends that have trouble sleeping. Breathing like a 4-7-8 count or a 4-8 count have actually been really helpful for them. So I'll just guide you through a 4-8 count just so that you can kind of hear my pacing. Sometimes we see it, but we don't really know, how to pace ourselves. So for my breathing exercises, I typically do them seated upright. So sitting up nice and straight, ears above your shoulders, shoulders above your hips. And I bring my hands onto my belly. Sometimes people may bring a hand up to their chest. It's really just depending on whatever feels most comfortable for you. So we'll do a 4-8 breath count. So for this, we'll take a deep breath in, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so if you feel yourself feeling a little bit more anxious, something like a 4-8 count or a 4-7-8 count can be a really great tool for you to help you possibly calm yourself down a little bit more, okay? So again, I just wanted you to kind of hear my pacing so that if you see those kind of floating around, or if you see them in my Instagram stories or wherever you see some of my content, you kind of get an idea of the pacing that I use. But again, if you can use different pacings too, just make sure that your breath out is longer than your breath in. So 4-8 might be kind of hard for some folks. You can do a 3-6, you can do a 2-4, you can do a 1-2. Just make sure that you're breathing out longer, okay? Another thing that you need to be practicing right now is gratitude. Gratitude is huge. Right now, there's so much darkness around us. I mean, everything is so heavy, and there's so much focus on it. And it's very important that we're shedding light on these issues, but it's also important to make room for joy. Again, nobody else is going to give this to you, right? So we have to cultivate this on our own. So anytime that you can see something that can give you a glimmer of hope, anytime that you can see something to be grateful for, I really want you to capitalize on that moment, because there's just so much heaviness out there, okay? And gratitude has such powerful and long-lasting impacts. It can help you with your sleep, it can help you with your health. There's so much research around that long-term impacts of gratitude practices. So make sure that you're taking time to also think of what you have to be grateful for. I know I'm personally grateful for seeing so many of my friends and family getting out here advocating, speaking up, speaking out, amplifying our voices, and truly making change like I never thought that I would see in my lifetime. So I personally take time to make an effort to take gratitude for those things every single day, okay? Another thing that you can be doing is journaling. So I personally have been journaling like out on my balcony almost every day, just kind of reflecting on my experience and processing some of those heavy emotions, and really just taking note of where I am, where I want to be, and different steps that I can take in between there. There are tons of journaling prompts out there, so feel free to jump on Google, search some journaling prompts. Hit me up if you need some. I've got some. But journaling is such a great exercise, again, for just processing some of those heavy emotions. And lastly, I know I kind of tapped on this already, but please make room for joy, okay? So I know that it's heavy, I know that it's hard to look away right now, but it's okay to take your break and take time to take care of yourself, okay? So the things that you enjoy doing prior to us, just kind of being in uproar around all this very necessary fight, try to make room to still do those things. So I take my walks every single day, a gratitude walk, my dance classes, connecting with my friends, doing Zoom, doing FaceTime, things like that, just to kind of make sure that this is not the only thing that's monopolizing my thoughts and conversations. Again, I can't stress it enough. This world is not going to give it to you if that's not clear to you now. So I need you to take time to take care of yourself. Black lives do matter. Your Black life matters to me. So please take care of yourself. Please take care of your Black life and create a great day, okay? Thank you for allowing me to share my practice with you. Bye-bye.